folks, and welcome back to DEADPIT. I'm the Creepy Kentuckian.
And I'm Uncle Bill. Hello.
And tonight, we have a very special review. It's a Patreon requested review from our good buddy William, a.k.a. Dumile, who is always requesting these eclectic films. Most of the time, they are from one particular studio. Isn't that right, Uncle Bill?
Yeah. A lot of times we have like the A24 rub, which I don't mind. I mean, I'm not there's a lot of people that fucking hate A24, just flat out, like anything that they come out with, they're against it. But I don't mind A24. Sometimes I do think they get a little bit hoity toity, but most of the time I actually like their stuff. So I'm fine with it.
A24 Pulse.
Another thing, though, that I've noticed that we've been reviewing a lot more of lately is like older horror films, which I also don't mind that either, because I've actually kind of like been turned on to some things that I never would have seen in a million years had it not been.
That's true.
For these, yeah.
Dumile back in the day, well, this has probably been a year or two ago, introduced us to The Innocents, which is probably my favorite movie that anybody has recommended through Patreon so far. I got to say, I was contemplating buying the Blu-ray, but I'm talking myself out of it because I want the 4K. Black and white movies in 4K are fucking phenomenal.
Let's do a tier list of all the people, all the Patreon requests. Let me kill it.
It's not a bad idea either, really.
It'd be kind of get madder than hell, though.
Difficult to go back and go through all those, but today is another A24 movie, and I had seen this movie at Walmart. I'd seen the cover quite a bit. I didn't really look into what this movie was or anything. But debut film for Rose Glass, which with a name like Rose Glass, I would hope that she's British, but I don't know.
Yeah, they call her Mrs. Glass.
Saint Maud from, now, this is another thing that was confusing. I don't know what year this was fucking made. Like, I've seen 2019, 2020, 2021. I think it had a bunch of different release dates, and they're all over the internet or whatever. IMDb which is normally what I go by. So they said it's 2019, so it must have debuted somewhere in 2019.
Yeah.
And this movie kind of hit home with me a little bit, man, because a lot of people may not realize that we are deep in the Bible Belt here in Eastern Kentucky, where, man, people are hardcore for the Lord, Uncle Bill, here in Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah.
They love Jesus. And I love Jesus too, but the difference is these people are a lot of them are kind of crazy. And the title character of Maud in this movie is very much the same kind of maybe even crazier, wouldn't you think?
Well, I love movies like this. I don't know why, but there's something about I like any kind of movie that explores like themes that are really, really controversial. And this is definitely one of those movies. And I think A24 does that pretty much all the time in most of their films. It's just sometimes they're a little bit more, I don't know, they just seem to be a little bit more hoity-toity than other ones, like some of them are. But in this one, you've got the character who is she's a nurse, and at first the beginning of the movie is her failing to save like a patient while she's like doing CPR on him, and that is one of the things that kind of haunts her. And then she goes and becomes like a hospice nurse, and in the course of becoming a hospice nurse, she is paired up with this woman who is an atheist. And I guess at this point, it's a good idea to bring up that Maud is extremely religious. That's like her whole gimmick throughout the entire
proper
movie.
Too. She's British.
Yeah.
And proper.
And so she just, it is weird though. If you notice one thing about this movie that I didn't really like think about till the end was like, do you ever see like a Bible or like people quoting scripture or anything in this movie? Because I don't remember that.
I don't recall it either, oddly enough.
But you see like
But
you
she's
know.
like a Catholic, I think, is what they said, right?
Yeah, yeah. You see like the crosses and all that stuff all over the place, and she's got like a whole shrine with, a bunch of Jesuses hanging around and stuff. There's no pun intended there either. They're literally like hanging around.
But the lady that she's taking care of, Amanda, played by Jennifer L., who is the exact opposite of Maud. I mean, she's a lesbian.
Yep.
She is, like you said, atheist, and she's dying. She's, stage 4 cancer patient, and she's dying. So Maud finds it throughout the movie, finds herself in the position of, hey, it's my job now. I can't save your life, but I'm going to save your soul, right? They should play the Jewel song and that would fit in this movie.
It'd be awful. That song just came in out of nowhere.
But yeah, I mean, she lives with her in the apartment there. Also, I think the Amanda character was a famous choreographer or writer or something like that, or photographer possibly, or whatever. So Maud and Jennifer or Amanda clash.
Yeah,
I'll just say that.
She was a dancer and a choreographer, I'm pretty sure, because she finds like a picture. I remember in one scene that has like a bunch of dance stuff on it in her house that's kind of laid there. And yeah, so like you were saying, like they're the polar opposites of one another. And one of the big scenes in the movie is she has a partner that comes over and visits all the time, and they do whatever and yada yada yada.
They're licking quite a bit, I bet.
Yeah, and
they can't show that on. This is
no.
This is a regular, just R-rated movie, so they can't show any licking going on. But they lead you to assume that, and I just like to think about it.
Yeah, so there you go. And then there's a scene in the middle of the movie where, Maud is begging that girl not to come over anymore because she, it's against God and all this stuff, and she's trying to save this woman's soul. And everybody just starts making fun of her, and they call her Saint Maud, which is where the title comes from in the movie. And they beg her not, or she gets fired based on that whole thing because she kind of comes back at him, and there's a big argument and everything. After she's fired, and this is one of the crazier parts of this movie. She thinks that she's been forsaken by God, and she's out on her own and all this. So she just kind of goes crazy, goes to a bar. It's the most, I hate awkward shit like that. Like I get secondhand embarrassment for stuff like that, even in a movie. I don't know why, but she's sitting there. It kind of reminded me of May in that way, where it's like everything.
I wrote that down here. Actually, it did remind me of May.
Like everything she tries to do to just meet people and socialize is just, she's so awkward that they just won't accept her, and people just kind of ignore her. And she finally runs into this dude at the bar who's drunk as shit, and she's drunk as shit by that point. And they have one of the worst sexual encounters ever that you could imagine. And then she's just kind of a mess. After that, she's kind of completely lost and doesn't know
what to do. Kind of descends into madness, and she meets up with Amanda one last time, and then there's a very, very dark ending to this. And this is a brief movie. This is only an hour and 24-minute movie. Very refreshing to see a movie under 90 minutes in modern time. It doesn't happen very often. You do get glimpses until towards the end. You know what Maud's history was. I don't even think Maud was her real name, right?
No, it was Carol, I think.
Yeah, or Kate or something like that.
Carol, something like that. Yeah. Katie, I don't remember. Something.
Had a very, very dark past, and of course, after she loses the job, the hospice nurse and everything gets, back to that, and just I mean, it's an insane, probably last 15 minutes of the movie. It's like, holy shit, what in the hell?
Well, another part of it we really didn't mention too is throughout the entire movie, she has these like I don't know what you call them, almost like seizures or something, where she thinks that she's like feeling the presence of the Lord, and she hallucinates throughout the movie, or at least that's what she's either hallucinating or like really crazy shit is happening, in front of her. There's a bunch of different scenes that kind of lead you to believe that that's what's going on.
Well, and I think it's important to say too that Amanda almost encourages the behavior at first
Yeah.
because it's like, she's kind of pretending along that she believes in some of this stuff that Maud is bringing up and the Lord and all this when she really doesn't.
Well, the one part that got me though is that like not at the very end, but I didn't see it coming, I guess, and it's kind of left up to interpretation, which is another thing I like about movies like this. Is when it's at the end and she goes back and visits her and they're in the bedroom and she's like, I missed you and all this stuff. And she said, I missed you too. And then she's got like this holy water with her and she's trying like to put it on her and she keeps rejecting it. And she's like, God, knock that shit off. Like, he isn't real. Like this, none of that was
Right.
real. And then though, she turns into like the fucking devil. Like there's a scene that actually jump scared me. I was not expecting it because she like kind of moves forward in the bed and like is like looking at her and just like her whole face changes and everything. And it's either Maud is hallucinating or that
That's what
woman
I
is
was
really the
thinking.
devil. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking it was in her head.
Yeah.
I like this a lot. I actually like, as far as the A24 movies go, the one-off A24 movies. I mean, this one's really. I mean, it's amazing that it's from a first-time director. But like a lot of A24 movies, man, and I don't know if you feel the same way. Like, I don't ever want to rewatch this movie,
No,
but I
I don't either.
liked it. I did like it. I couldn't
It's
see
just
myself
it's
buying it.
too to me, and I was thinking about this today. It's too like you get too entangled in it or you have to pay too much attention to it or something, I think, to where like I don't want to go back and watch them because they're so intense and you have to watch like everything about them and you have to kind of pay attention and they're usually really, really like depressing and just there's something about them where it's a combination of they are super visual and artsy, and you really have to kind of like the tone of them is very drab too. So you really have to be in a certain mindset to watch that anyway. So you're right. Like I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I'll never watch this movie again. Like I have no
And there's a
desire.
lot of the A24 movies that are like that, man, really. As a matter of fact, I don't know of too many that I would rewatch again.
Yeah.
Right. But I did enjoy it. I did hear about an original draft of the script that had more of a backstory for Maud. And I think the director, Rose Glass, had stated that it was too similar to Brian De Palma's Carrie in a lot of ways. Like it was
Yeah, it
kind
makes
of, I
sense.
think the mother of Maud was like a hardcore, much like in Carrie, hardcore Christian or Catholic or whatever the hell it is. But Saint Maud, it's worth checking out. It's not necessarily really a horror movie. I mean, maybe right towards the end, it kind of becomes that, but it's definitely
Yeah, it's
more of a drama, I think.
yeah, it's like a psychological examination or a character study more than it is anything else. So this woman's kind of descent into loneliness and madness and yeah.
But this is one of those movies that people dissect on YouTube. There's plenty of people all
There's a lot.
explaining
Yeah.
explain the ending of the movie and stuff like
Well,
that.
there's a lot of scenes in it where like it's very David Lynch like where there's scenes that don't make any sense. Like there's one scene where a giant cockroach like climbs down like a
A
you know
cockroach,
in her bedroom and then goes like
man.
underneath a dresser and then it disappears and you see like the waves of it like almost like a portal or something, like it goes through a portal. And I'm just like, what the fuck is that? Like, I mean, is that just a hallucination, or is that, I mean, you could make a million different things out of shit like that. There's a bunch of stuff like that that happens throughout the movie.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know if we're going to rank it or anything, but I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. It's worth checking out at least once. I think it's on, is it on Amazon?
Prime. Yeah.
Amazon Prime. Yeah, that's where I watched it. Because usually I'll look for some of these movies that I don't own on, they're on something. Most of them are. If it ain't Amazon Prime, it's Hulu or YouTube or Tubi. But another interesting pick for our buddy Dumile. This was June's pick, so we're a little bit late getting it to him. But we do need to let people know that there is still, it's been the longest opened Baller and Shotcaller spot in the history of Dead Pit on Patreon available, where you can book the Dead Pit show, one pick a month, whether it be a commentary, a review, a show topic, access to all of the shit that we have done so far, all of it. We're almost up to 100 different songs on there.
That's hilarious.
100 different songs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like amazed that hasn't filled up at this point, and kind of depressed about it. I feel like that's just depressing. I
feel that people need to go and support that, right?
Yeah.
And very soon, we'll give you a little bit of a clip here.
Behind the scenes where the movie
this song is going to be up on the Patreon page.
I've probably watched that 10 times now. I don't know why, but there's something about the combination of that song and his reaction to that song that's amazing.
And we did put up the Into the Pit Dead Pit theme, which combines the original theme with new shit that Kelly the Beast Marcotte kind of put together back in the day. So lots of stuff up on the Patreon page, but big thanks goes out to William for all the support and this movie here as well. Saint Maud from A24. Check it out. Be sure to check us out on DeadPit.com. Give us the thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a fuck.
I want you to.
Okay.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit Radio shirts. You can get Last South on the left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. DeadPitOnPatreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows, fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.